Freedom Fighters, I'm coming back at you with another weekly roundup. And what are we going to talk about? What went down here in this crazy world of ours within this weekly time period? I guess they're supposed to release the files today. I'm coming at you, from the morning, so who knows what happens later. Even though I already saw some reports that they dropped them last night, a couple reporters, Laura Loomer posted some stuff on X. A few other reporters have talked about it. Some, papers have been leaked and stuff, and all we got was large columns of black ink. Once again, bunch of redacted nonsense with no real substance, and you have the conservative influencers, dancing at the White House, putting on a show, and that's what it all is, man. Just more theater. Making you think that, they throw you a bone, make you think things are happening, that this is a new administration and things are getting done, and we're transparent. It's all just, more BS. It's the runaround. And got you thinking that, things are going our way, or things are changing, the culture in DC has changed or whatnot, and Washington is back in control and we have real leaders at the helm. It's all a facade, and it's once again another nothing burger. And I'm gonna kick this one off to Candace Owens, who I actually saw a clip of hers this morning that laid it out pretty well. And she was just like, if anyone really thought they were going to get these, which I and many other people in this community said that we weren't, this is your proof. And this whole, like, oh, well, this is just phase one. Why are you doing it like this? It should have been drop this off on my desk and then just instant release it all. But once again, like I said, government doesn't work like that. Even when your guys are in charge, they're going to look through it all, they're going to edit it, they're going to redact it, and they're going to say, of course, sources and methods, and, to protect the victims, and you never really get a real story. All you get is choppy sentences and redacted black ink that means nothing, and then no one's going to get held accountable. And I think there actually has been a lot of pushback against this. I have seen a lot of right wing conservative channels calling this out. Like, this is the big reveal. This is your phase one drop. Like, if this is it, like, this is garbage. So I feel like in the coming weeks, maybe months, they are gonna post some more, raunchy, spicy stuff, I guess. And they're gonna hold somebody accountable, some um scapegoat that they could throw in prison for a couple years. And I was watching another, I think it was the Tucker podcast with Cernovich, where he also said, like, Epstein was arrested on some, like, just some bogus, like, he wasn't arrested for being, like, a prophilic uh, trafficker or anything. He didn't get charged for, like, being the world's most criminal, sex offender or anything like that. They basically got him for, I think, getting massages in his New York hotel or apartment building. Basically a low level, like, prostitution charge or something that you would, your normal John would get charged for in, like, Las Vegas, or something like that. But and then this goes back to, Barr didn't have the guts to do any real prosecution, and he said he had, all the real information. They were talking about in that podcast that Bill Barr said no, he saw the videotape of Epstein committing suicide in his cell. So that video should exist. We should all be able to see it. Is that available to Pam Bondi? And we should be able to see it. But anyway, man, where I'm getting to all this with is, Pam Bondi is gonna be the next Bill Barr. You just wait and see. Like, nothing's gonna come of any of this stuff. She's not gonna be prosecuting any of these people. I saw another interview with her the other day where, People said they were leaking or not leaking, but destroying documents. There was record searches for BleachBit in Washington D.C., the program that Hillary used to, wipe down her servers with a cloth, as she said. So they're looking how to delete documents, and there's been whistleblowers saying, stuff is coming up missing, things are getting deleted, people are, running amok, and things are all havoc within these organizations. Well, this is what happens when you give them time. And, what I said from the very beginning, how Trump even said, like, we don't tell people when we attack? I never understood this, like, oh yeah, well, we're going to put Iran on warning that, they have something coming. Well, then they get to prepare for it. Why not just straight up attack out of the blue? Why do we do this whole, like, warning system thing where we call people up and say, we got missiles headed over to this, weapons depot or this airstrip. You better remove everybody because they're coming in hot and heavy. They should just come in hot and heavy. They should just hit them. And this whole thing, like, oh, we're going to release the documents and all this stuff, and we're coming in there, we're going to shake stuff up within the FBI. Kash Patel was saying all this stuff. Well, that gives them time to erase and hide all their crimes. I mean, did you expect anything different? Same with this Fort Knox reveal, they're saying. Look how much time has already gone by since they've talked about that. You're telling them, oh, we're going to go audit Fort Knox. And again, folks, you're never going to know the real story. I highly doubt they're going to go in there and be like, oh, all the gold is gone. What they should have done is not even talked about it. Go in there and be like, hey, I'm the President of the United States of America. Let me in. And bring a camera crew with you. Go in there. Bring in Elon. Go in there with metal... it's not a metal detector. There's special machinery to detect precious metals. There's different kind of like lasers that can test the depth, and they even use what are those things? The echograms or something, sotograms or whatever. The pregnancy things that they, they get the baby pictures and stuff with. They can scan the bars, x-ray the bars, make sure there's no lead-filled cores or anything like that. And they should have just shown up one day with camera crews and grabbed random bars and started scanning them and everything. But instead, what you're going to see is a theater show. It's all going to be propped up. They're probably going to have a room, or maybe a couple rooms to make it seem more real, that are stacked full of gold, and make it seem like all the other 50 to 100 rooms, whatever they got in there, are full with gold bars. And they're going to go in there and maybe tap on them or pick them up. And Elon and Trump are going to be, dancing around with gold bars. And everyone's going to be like, everything's fine and our country's so strong and we have all this gold. But, you'll never know the reality. Same with all these JFK files and everything else. And supposedly the Secret Service agent that dove on top of the car and onto JFK, he just recently passed away the day that they started releasing files. So, I'm not trying to get in all the conspiracy-minded stuff, but none of it, you're never going to find the answers for this. They're never going to come out and say it was our own government and the CIA and everybody was involved. And, who these other shooters were. I know this Rhett Paulina came out and said, the single shooter theory isn't quite right. And, if it was, there's been reports it was the driver, that other Secret Service agent that just passed away. We'll never really know. And same with all this, Epstein stuff. You're never going to figure it out. They'll find some guy along, the way that they can get as a patsy to throw in prison, to throw you a bone and make you happy. And we're going to have another do nothing AG, and that's kind of what I was getting to there. She was like, all these people, deleting stuff and getting in our way and tipping off ICE raids and all this stuff within our organizations, you know, and the NSA, CIA, FBI, whatever, all these three-letter agencies, we're going to hold them accountable and you're going to get fired and lose your job. And it's like, fired? What about held for treason? What about arrested? But again, they're never going to do that. And even if they do, you know, I was talking to someone about this the other day. You throw one of these whistleblowers in prison or whatever sometime down the road. I mean, the court case is going to get held up a year or two. They'll serve, you know, a year or two for the rest of the term in jail, in prison. But the next administration is just going to let them out. And that's what this country's going to become. It's going to become, you know, every 4 years or every 8 years, there's going to be a shift back and forth. And one side's going to release their prisoners, and government's just going to be constantly, you know, leaking stuff. Oh, this side did this. Look at their secrets. Look what they did. Throw them in prison. And then the other side's just going to release them, and it's going to go back and forth. And really none of it affects you and I, right? Everything's still going to be screwed up here. Prices are just going to continue to inflate. Cost of living is unrealistic, undoable. Everything's screwed up. You're going to continue to lose your rights, and nothing's going to change. And we're not going to do anything about it. So that's basically what it is. And going back to what I said about the Candace Owen interview, she's like, if anything implicates Israel, don't expect, you know, to hear any of it. It's going to be, you know, nothing to see here. We'll throw you a bone. Somebody else did it. And take your $5,000 Trump bucks and, you know, shut up, you pleb. They're our greatest ally. Don't question anything. I also saw a Dan Bongino interview where he was like, can you believe all this, you know, stuff, and we're going to get these files, and I heard that Epstein is actually a agent or something from some country in the Middle East. Who knows who? And it's like, really, Dan? You don't know who? But again, he's on video too, talking about being a staunch defender of Israel and, you know, the whole system. You already know the deal, man. It's an occupied system. They're all bought, even if they're not literally like agents themselves. They're all bought and paid for. Massey came out and said they're all getting, you know, massive checks, payouts from the APAC lobby and everything. So they're all bought and paid for, man. All the stories you see released are because they allow them to get released. And that's all we're going to ever get, man. But let me know what you think about it. Until the next one, you know what it is. We are on our own. Nobody's coming to save us. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.